G'day, it's me again. It's been a little while, and I'll tell you why. Can stay open for a bit. We have sort of been busy, mostly life's got in the way. We've had things to do. We have done a little bit though. So, as you would have seen on the way in, we have painted the wall around the pop-up, and that's looking really nice. I'm very happy with how that came out. That involved getting some flashings finished up there, some more siliconing, which maybe I'm getting used to. It wasn't so bad this time. We've also taken all of the masking and the plastic and everything away from the inside. We've finished all of the wall coats. We had a few issues, as you would have seen in the last video, which I'll put. I can never remember which side it is. It's one of these corners. I'll put a link up to the last video where we painted inside the house. We had a few issues with running paint. After the experience that we've had with the sprayer, I would certainly use the sprayer again. I think it was more an issue that my technique wasn't correct. I think I was moving too slowly, packing on too much paint, and we just ended up with runs. So this is the wall that we had the runs across here. And I don't even think you can pick where they were anymore, so that's really good. But we have ended up with just a few little stripy, patchy bits that you can really only see in certain light. But really, that's about it. I'm very happy with the actual feel and surface of the paint. It's a very nice, smooth, even finish. It's very nice. I'm glad we left that open, and I'm glad it's the only part of the house that we left open to the OSB. We were thinking about doing another couple of walls like this guy here behind the TV. That would have been another selection of panels to sort of varnish and leave open, but I think it would have detracted from the uniqueness of this section of the ceiling. This is the office. You can just see a couple of little stripy bits. Actually, they're more pronounced on the camera than they are in real life. It's like a dusky grey, a warm grey, I suppose, and a flat white ceiling. Whoops. We did have a couple of patches where the plastic or the masking that we did had lifted a little bit before I realised I'd sprayed wall paint on the ceiling. We need to sand a few areas to take some of that wall paint off the ceiling, and we'll just touch it up with a brush. Sort of, you know, it's behind a doorway header, so it's not going to be visible very much. But all in all, I'm really happy at how crisp everything came up. All of our junctions and the cutting in that we would have had to have done if we weren't masking everything. So that's just a continuation of the last video, showing you the final finished product. We have managed to get the waterproofing done and finish the painting in the bathroom, so that is the entire house. So this was the last section that we did. There's a couple of little marks in here, but man, the first couple of coats we did, it was terrible, and I was really dreading the outcome because of this. It's not a very long hallway, but it is a hallway with narrow walls and a light source at the end of it. It really stood out. Maybe I'm being too picky, maybe I'm just sort of noticing it because it's something new for us and something that we've tried to do ourselves to the best of our ability. In the end, I'm really happy how it's come out. Even though you can, every now and then, just see a couple of those funny stripy bits. But when you're looking straight at the wall, it looks really nice. And again, a very nice texture. This is the low sheen paint. It's quite flat. There's not a whole lot of texture to it. It's really hard to get the camera to focus on it, but I hope you can see that there's not actually a lot of texture on that paint. And that is because of the sprayer. We've pulled all the masking off the timber, so that's the next thing that we've got to do. We've got to varnish this timber. All of these doorways here where we've got cavity sliders, need to varnish all of that, and then we're going to coat the floor again. So that's what I'm working on today and probably for the next few days. Going to pull up all of this cardboard. I've been itching to look at our floor again and get rid of this mess. We're no longer going to need this cardboard on the floor to protect it from paint and plaster splotches and things like that. So time to rip that up. Going to stack that in a room. Our kitchen is ready. I got notification today that I can start collecting it tomorrow. So I'm going to do a few trips with the ute to pick up the flat packed kitchen. We're probably just going to stash it in one of these rooms for now, or maybe leave it in the shed. But I've got to get this floor prepped. We need to do another coat of sealant over the top. It's going to need some washing and some sanding before that's ready to go on. There's a lot of prep work involved, like anything, so I'm going to get to ripping up this cardboard, getting rid of that, and start wiping things down and getting things ready to sand the floor surface again, ever so lightly, so we can put another clear coat over the top. But it's not going to do itself, so... Some hours later, clean, washed, cleansed, sanctified. Maybe not quite, but it's good. Erica's been in here mopping while I've been addressing some timber. We need to seal the timber in these cavity sliders before we can actually do anything with the floor. If we bring the sealant on the slab in here and it pulls up into the timber, we'll get a different colour. So I've got to seal the timber first. I need to sand the timber before I seal it, but it's come up really nice actually. I'm very pleased. I had to, you're very fish-eyed, aren't you? Wowza. Yeah, so I had to create this guy here. This is a normal cavity slider here. I've put a piece of timber on the outside of this, which happens to be the closer for got this cavity slider over here. So this guy closes in against the edge of this, which happens to be another cavity slider. Not designed like this, so I had to, you know, glue this guy to this guy and this guy over here to this guy, and dear, it's just a lot of gluing and sanding and, you know, trying to make it look good. It has come up pretty nicely. So for the most part, there's only going to be 2 of us living here, so that door can stay open all the time. Toilet door here can close and sort of doesn't affect the open plan ensuite sort of style of bathroom that it is. So that's it for me tonight. Knocking off. Tomorrow we will varnish some timber. It's probably about all. That's all we'll get up to. We'll varnish some timber. Probably need to put some putty in these holes, in these little nail holes. And then we'll be one step closer to sealing the floor. I am very impressed with the surface finish in here. It was reasonably easy to put on. We did 2 coats. There's a little bit of roughness in patches, but man, it has put up with some punishment. So I'm very glad we did it, and I'm glad we did it when we did. It'd just be nice to freshen it up a little bit and get rid of some of these scratches. Now's the time. Let's freshen it up and have it nice and new like everything else. It's a couple of days later. We have sealed the floor again. We used the same stuff that we sealed it originally before we started building. It's called Dulux Luxafloor ACS, acrylic concrete sealant. She's a heady formula. It's certainly solvent based, but it is an acrylic. It was fine while we were doing it. We had our masks on, and you could get a bit of a whiff of it every now and then. But after it was finished, after we'd finished applying it and we sort of took off for a bit, I came back in probably 2 hours later. It was like walking into a wall of methylated spirits. It was just whoom. So thankfully, it's all gone off now. It's nice and hard, and it's a really nice surface. It's a lot smoother than it used to be. And now with this extra coat on there, it's come up just like brand new again. It's so good. Really nice even surface. Dog is loving having a piece of carpet to sit on, aren't you, dog? Good dog. And all of this brings us to our current project, which is the kitchen. We bought a kitchen as a flat pack from a local company. I'm going to crack on just for a little bit and test a few of the cabinets to see if I can work out how they go together, try and sort out what's kitchen, what's laundry, because they all came in the same heap. And I thought I'll bring in this piece of carpet, not specifically for a dog to lie on, but now I'm a little bit paranoid about damaging the floor. We're making some progress. I've got a couple of dress panels in, this guy on the side of the pantry. That's looking good, nice and straight. That's pretty much screwed off now. I'm pretty confident. I measured this section, I measured the bench top. I'm pretty sure we'll get all of that in reasonably easily. I've left the screw out of the back of that just in case. But on the cards at the moment is this guy. Not this one, but this cupboard here. There's a dress panel screwed to the side of that already. That dress panel meets up with the side of that shorter guy there and sits up on top of that. Unfortunately, we couldn't get 2.7 metre panels, so there is a join at 2.4 metres, somewhere there, which will be the same on this side. So this cupboard is going to shoot up to about there somewhere, and the panel on the side is hopefully going to just sit on the top of this guy, play nicely for a little while I get some screws in. But I might be damaging myself in the meantime. You probably shouldn't watch this. You should definitely not do this at home by yourself. Neither should I. I know better, but I'm going to try it anyway. I might fail miserably. I've got to hold the cupboard up here on this, so that's fine. Get a couple of screws into this side of it with it lined up properly, and then hopefully get a couple of screws into the other side of it before it falls down and kills me. Let's see how we go. Stay. How am I going to do that gracefully? Now what? Clamp's gone. Look, I can screw this side off or up. Whew. That was hefty. Don't do that at home. Do as I say, not as I do. Easy. More kitchen building, but we got issues. It's a bit disappointing. It's one of those 2 steps forward, 1 step back sort of cases. You've seen our progress. We've got this tall cupboard up the top here. We've got some dress panels in against the wall and next to these other cabinets. We've got the pantry in. We've got the junk cupboard sort of put together and everything. We've got a few other cabinets that are semi-assembled. The issue that we've got, which Erica noticed the other night, is a lot of the edges of these dark panels have unfortunately got, it looks like damage. It's very small, like you've got to be pretty close to see it, but I don't know, I'm a step away from it and you can still see it. So it's a bit annoying, and it's nearly every single panel. I mean, this is the opening side of the pantry, so we're going to see this every time we open it. I've got updates. It's been probably a week or two since I've taken any footage. We've sort of put the kitchen building on hold while we sorted out the issue with the stuff around the edges. Thankfully, the supplier has come to the party. They've agreed that it's not great. They are going to come and fix it on site. I believe that's just going to be touching up the edges of the panel where the laminex meets the edge strip. It's just chipped a little bit, and that's causing that white line. There are a few chips that we may get them to remake those particular panels, but for the most part, it's coming up pretty nicely. Got the door on the pantry. We finished all of the drawers in the pantry. The overheads have gone up reasonably peacefully. There's a couple of dress panels that are screwed up underneath it. The laundry's sort of on hold while we wait for another dress panel down the side. Plumbing is through this cabinet, the junk cupboard, because why change habits? And a lazy dog. This dog has been exceedingly lazy. It hasn't helped with much of anything recently, except for getting rid of some breakfast. Huh? Anyway, so we're working on putting together the last of the carcasses for these overhead cupboards. I'm looking forward to getting all of the carcasses up there, and then it's only just dress panels for the rest of it, the doors and the drawer fronts. But once we've got all these carcasses up, we'll start heating up door panels and some dress panels and take it from there. But now it's lunchtime apparently. Charlie was super helpful during all of that. Yeah, no, you're right. No, we've got it. It's okay. Yep, you just go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we put a top on. It's not screwed off or anything, it's just sitting there, but just gives a bit more of a authentic kitchen feel to what used to be a bunch of wood carcasses. Well, wood, I use the term loosely. It's a really nice break between the artificial colours of these sort of cabinetries, and it just brings a little bit of warmth and, I don't know, something a little something different. It's very nice, I like it. What? What do you think about the whole thing? Charlie's looking forward to Christmas, aren't you? Yes. So we're a week away from Christmas, and we're really hoping to get the electricians in to hang some lights above here. That way we can finish the island bench, maybe have something to sit at and eat Christmas lunch. Without having to put ladders on top of our nice timber bench tops to get to these lights up here, because it's a fair way up. This bulkhead above us, we've got a hanging 3 pendants that'll be over the top of the table on the far end of the island bench. We've got some downlights all around the bulkhead, and we've got a hanging bar light over the top of the main work area of the island bench. look, there's lots of stuff that I'm still working out as we go, but I'm quite happy how it's going together. It is quite a sturdy carcass system. The bench tops look great. I'm sure the colours will end up being acceptable. I do like the colours. I'm glad we went with this. Gee, it's nearly the same as the wallaby outside. See if I can I'll find a piece of wallaby and show you. So this is the flashing colour, and very similar to the colour of the windows that we're using outside. And depending on the light, that's a pretty close match. That's probably about the best way to look at it. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but the droplet, the paint on the walls, is a very slight dusky pink, and the cupboard's obviously a bit more of a stark white. The darker colour, it's called mousse, and like you just saw, it's quite close to the wallaby. It's a warm grey. So we're trying to go for neutral colours but not have cold greys and cold feeling colours. Anyway, for the moment I am going to continue muddling my way through the kitchen, putting together what I can, and if we get a break in this weather, I might go outside, do some more flashing. Not that sort of flashing. I'm sorry this has taken a while to get this video sorted out. The kitchen's been reasonable to put together, but it has been a long and arduous process, and a fella's got to work in the midst of it, and a dog doesn't help much at all. Do you come back over here. Gonna need to put another couple of screws in the back of the carcass, and I've been using the laser to line up with a screw that I can sort of see under the back where I've used the studs in the wall to attach that piece of timber that holds the cupboard carcass on the wall. I can see the marks that I've made with pencil for the studs, and I can line that up all the way up through the cupboard. Just have a laser line. I can pick my point where I want to put the screw in, drop it in, and know that I'm going to hit a stud. Now this is not a how-to video, but That's how you do that. Oh, you son, I turned you off instead of turning you on. Story of my life. So, let's do it again. I've got a nice little reveal all the way up on this dress panel against the wall. We've got a nice even gap across the top. We're level everywhere, which is scary. Something's bound to go wrong. So I've got a couple of doors to put on here, a sinkhole to cut out, and the laundry's done. For the moment, the cupboards are finished. I realise this kitchen process has taken quite a long time. I am going to split this into 2 videos. I hope you don't mind. It's just taking a long time to complete. I'm hoping I'm showing enough detail to keep it interesting. If I am, please leave me a message. I do appreciate the subscriptions, and I hope you guys are getting some good information and maybe a couple of laughs out of this. So stick with us for part 2. That should be coming along shortly.